to improve our own individual lives, but also to create a positive impact on the world around us. It makes a compelling case that each of us, equipped with growth, grit, and grace, can become catalysts for change. The ideas presented within these pages are not merely aspirational. They suggest actionable steps that we can take to move us toward a more equitable and harmonious world. As we confront the myriad challenges of our era, from social inequality to climate change, from loss of biodiversity to conflict and war, the suggestions laid out in Think Remarkable remind us of our shared responsibility to think, act, and live with purpose. In these troubling, uncertain, and, for some of us, desperate times, it is imperative that we strive to work together. In other words, we must all live remarkably to make this a better, fairer, and happier world. And this book is a call for immediate action. The future of life on Earth, including our own, depends on how we act now. Jane Goodall, Ph.D., DBE, founder of the Jane Goodall Institute and UN Messenger of Peace.
Introduction. I'm Guy Kawasaki, one of the authors of the book that you are listening to. The book, of course, is Think Remarkable, 9 Paths to Transform Your Life and Make a Difference. I'm going to be reading to you a few sections of the book. This is because, quite frankly, the professional voice actor, Perry Daniels, has a better voice, but there are some sections that are so intensely personal, I thought it would be better if I read them. The first section that passes that test is the introduction. I begin this introduction with a quote from Anne Frank. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't happened yet. I included this quote because it speaks of grit and determination and grace and growth. Anne Frank was under terrible circumstances, and yet she had this optimism. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't happened yet. First section of the introduction, Think Different. In 1997, I was Apple's chief evangelist, and I was in the room when Lee Clow of Apple's advertising agency, Chiat Day, presented the Think Different campaign to Steve Jobs. There were perhaps 10 people in the meeting, and Lee's presentation took our breath away because it so perfectly captivated the spirit of Macintosh and Apple. Let me read to you the text of the Think Different ad. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. Wow. I don't know who wrote that text, but holy cow, that is great text. Back then, Apple wasn't doing well. In fact, most of the pundits predicted that Apple would soon go bankrupt. Michael Dell, yes, that Dell, even suggested that Apple return its cash to shareholders and close up shop. Sticking with Apple in those days was an act of faith and thinking differently. To massively state the obvious, Michael Dell and the pundits were wrong. The Think Different campaign and the iMac line of Macintoshes rekindled the flame and saved Apple. The turnaround that Steve engineered was remarkable, and Apple became the most valuable company in history. It's been a few decades since that meeting. The world has come a long way, but many problems still exist. New challenges have arisen, and much work remains to be done. However, there are also great opportunities. Now it's necessary to go beyond Think Different and go all the way to Think Remarkable to transform your life and the world.